How's it going, everybody? In this video, we're going to take a look at our next FTD topic, which is going to be creating a static IPv4 route so that we can point traffic towards the internet in the event that we need to. So in our specific lab, we technically don't need one, but we're going to configure one anyway, just so we are thorough. Because there might be a point in time when we need to use one, so it's better to know how to do it and stuff like that, rather than being like, well, we don't technically need it. We don't technically need it because the connection between FTD1 and R4 is direct. We're not going through another device to get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure FTD1 to point to 41.0.0.4, which is R4, to point all of its default route traffic out towards. Now I could go and point FTD1 out the management interface and have actual legit internet connectivity. But the cool thing about these iOS boxes is I can do things like HTTP servers and start diving into the flow, and I can start doing like URL filtering and stuff like that through the web servers, which is clear text, which gives me the ability of seeing what's happening. So that's why we're going to do what we're going to go do. So in order to do that, we need to be able to configure routing. So what I'm going to do is I'm on the Firepower Management Center. If you go to Devices and then Device Management, and if you click on the Edit button here, the next thing you're going to be brought to is the FTD specific configs. I'm going to click on Routing here, and once that pulls up, there it goes. Sometimes it takes a minute. We have to filter through all the stuff that's down here. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to grab static route, and underneath here I need to add a route. So I'm going to click on add route, and we need to specify what type of traffic it's going to be. So it's going to be IPv4, and what interface is the traffic going to leave out of. I'm going to say it's going to leave out of the outside interface. So it's going to be route outside. And then what traffic do I want to send outside? I want to send any traffic outside. So it's going to be any IPv4, and I'm going to add it. Now the gateway is a little interesting because if you click here, there's really no information. I technically could use this particular entry. Let me go ahead and actually close that tab out. I could use the DNS entry. I'm not going to, for the simple fact that I want to create another object so you guys can see how this actually works. I'm going to click the plus button here, and I'm going to type in the gateway we're going to use is the IP address up at the next top, which is going to be our iNet GW or gateway. It's going to be a host, and it's going to be 41.0.0.4. I'm going to click on save. So it's going to save the object, and it should automatically use that as its entry. The traffic will not be tunneled, and there's no route tracking. So we won't be able to fail over at any point in the time in the future, but I will, at some point in the future, we'll add a secondary set of internet and another interface, and then we'll test that capability out. But for right now, this is where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and it's going to go ahead and save that route. And if you look right here, the gateway of last resort is not set. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save the config. And once the config is saved, I'm going to go ahead and deploy it. And the deployment option is actually pretty easy. I'm going to go and click on its computing. The inspect interruption is, are there going to be any problems when I go to deploy? I'm going to click on deploy and give that a second or two to do its thing, and then we will go through and configure all the details that we need to. Right now we're pretty much squared away, so we're just waiting for the deployment process to kick in. I'm going to click on here, and we're at the 8%, which is figuring out what we need to send, and then I'm going to pause the video until that's 100% complete, and then I'll bring you guys back in. Alright, well, the deployment to device was successful, which is awesome. I'm going to hit the up arrow and do a show route, and guess what? Now the gateway of last resort is 41.0.0.4 to network of all zeros, and you'll notice that I have a default route now showing up. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be all the stuff that we needed to understand about the default route. Pretty straightforward stuff. So until next time, guys, thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me in this video. Until next time, take it easy.